back. He's back! You can't keep getting away with it! He can't keep getting away with it! He won't.
Most of Spain and all of Portugal were hit by a major blackout at around noon local time today, impacting power and phone lines. Public transport, traffic lights, and phone services were mostly down in parts of Madrid, Barcelona, and Lisbon due to the outage, and trains were mostly halted, though the stock market continues to operate normally. The reason for the outage is still unknown.
Breaking news, millions of people in Spain, Portugal, and parts of France are without power because of an unknown grid issue. Authorities are asking people to stay at home and stay off the roads while emergency generators are being put in place. ABC News foreign correspondent Marcus Moore is following that story for us. Marcus, what's the latest?
Well, hey, Diane, we know that the power is still off to large portions of Spain, for sure, we know about, and also assessing the situation in Portugal. We do know that they have been able to restore power, according to reports, to parts of France. But this is really having a huge disruption on people in Spain. It happened right around midday, and you're seeing these images of people working and going about their day in the dark. This looks like a store where people were shopping. We've also seen, Diane, images of people who were on the metro system. They had to get off of those trains and were seen walking down the tracks, these dark tunnels, trying to get to a better place. And of course, there has been a disruption to travel. The main airport in Madrid was without power. We understand that they do have backup generators. And while there is some electricity that's coming through those generators, this has caused a major delay and backup for a lot of the air travel. And we've seen travelers who have been left stranded at this point. And Diane, you just mentioned it right now. There's no clear indication on exactly what caused this, if this was some issue with the power grid or something else. Spain's cybersecurity agency is investigating, as well as Spain's National Intelligence Agency. So it would seem that at this point, they're not ruling anything out in terms of a possible cause.
A rare weather phenomenon is being blamed for the nationwide power outages across Spain and Portugal, according to Portuguese grid operator 𝗦𝗵𝗿𝗶. Madrid's mayor is urging people to stay put and only call the emergency services if it's truly urgent. Portugal's grid operator says it's impossible to predict when power will be fully restored, warning it could still take days despite all resources being deployed.
So we're tracking a major power outage across Spain, Portugal, and parts of France. It's crippling airports, metro systems, and cities like Madrid, Lisbon, and Barcelona. Electric grids data showed that a massive drop in demand, but the cause of the blackout remains unknown, sparking concerns over potential cyber attack, infrastructure failures, or possible sabotage. So we're going to continue to follow this story for any further updates.
Man, I did not want to make another video today, but you just can't stop with these guys, huh? Today's the 28th, it's April, and it's 2025. And what in the world do you think this is? All of a sudden, Portugal, Spain, and parts of France have suddenly lost power. What a crazy thing. They just lost power. And now they're blaming it on a weather event. A weather event has knocked out the power in 2.5 countries. What a strange thing. But you want to know what else is a strange thing? Let's take a look at this map right here on Google Earth, shall we? So I was curious. Here's Portugal over here on the left of Spain. And Spain's right here in the middle. And it looks like a pretty good sized country, you know, big country. It's Spain. And I was peeking around on it, taking a look, looking here, looking there. And then I thought I'd look a little bit up. And then lo and behold, look what is directly in line as soon as you cross over into France. Why, there's our old pal CERN again. And what is CERN known for? Well, CERN uses an unbelievable amount of power. An unbelievable amount of power. And I looked up the records, and out for the public, CERN isn't doing anything of note. But that doesn't do anything for me whatsoever at all. I just find it really, really strange. So either CERN is sucking down the power because CERN is not doing what people think they're doing. Perhaps you remember this woman, Dr. Astrid Stuckelberger. I ran a video on her about a year ago. She's a scientist, an author, public speaker, and an international health expert, and I checked out her credentials. she appears to be completely legit. And she said CERN was doing all sorts of crazy things that people didn't know when CERN claimed they weren't even up and running, which I completely believe. It's 300 feet below Earth. How would you know what they're doing, right?
Because there are lots of physicians, I know some, they're doing very strange experimentation. There are beings from portals coming in and out. It's physicists from the CERN who told me this.
They've testified to beings coming in and out of portals.
Yes. And they were saying, I mean, I met them at a dinner and there were two of them. And both said that, yes, they have, secondhand proof that the people who they're dealing with the boson of Higgs and the subatomic things. So they have apparently in the bottom of the CERN this portal, this door where they are dealing with all the subatomic dimensions. They say there are 17 different dimensions of reality. That's what those physicists say. Some others say there are more dimensions. We know the time, space, the tridimensional X, Y, Z in a graphic. But then you have more dimensions, and they are playing with that. They're using that, and we're a group, and they had a being. They did not tell me more, who came that doesn't resemble a human. And then they had another one, and they have a proof because they left a scarf. They left a scarf. And now, when you look at what is going on in the CERN, there is a fight from some of the military agencies, Intel. They say that there is a fight on time. They're trying to change time.
You're going to so much effort, digging all these tunnels, spending so much money to smash particles together. Mm-hmm. And so what's the point?
Scientific exploration. I think it's almost like asking, what's the point of art or music? I think humans have this curiosity of finding what's out there and how does the world around you work? And FCC will help us answer some of those questions.
Why is Geneva of such significance? Because you've got the World Health Organization, all these meetings in Geneva. You've got CERN in Geneva, Davos, Switzerland. Why is Geneva so significant?
Yeah, I would say Switzerland is very significant in general, but because of our neutrality, there could be many factors. So I could take it at different levels. The geopolitically, the fact that Switzerland is a nice country of peasants, former mercenaries, historically, and they're nice. They look, they're compliant and neutral normally. That's one. But actually, the other one is the banking system. Secret banking system still to this day. They can put all the money they want. The immunity is another one, geopolitically. As a scientist, you do hypotheses because that's how you build an open reality, because otherwise you miss the point. It makes sense because they're all here. So it's the World Economic Forum is just opposite the UN. The UN is, 10 minutes by car to the CERN. Then you have all the sports association, FIFA, UEFA, also at 10 minutes, half an hour from everything. Yes. So, and then we have the Bank of Settlements in Basel. That's 2 hours and a half away by car. But it's all there. Small Switzerland is like the Disneyland of everything they want to do.
Fascinating.
So, yeah, we're close to everything.
Now, I've run that before, and I've showed it to you before, and I researched this lady. I can't find anything about her that isn't completely legit. She's literally putting her entire career out there to warn people of what people like myself have been warning for years. Maybe she's got an aluminum foil hat as well. It's not tin foil, it's aluminum foil, but on that, I will digress. So maybe that's the cause of it all. But here's the other cause, which is actually, I don't know, just as bad. But here's the other thing that it's probably a test run for, because let's remember, Spain, Portugal, parts of France. But remember when Cuba and Puerto Rico, these are all controlled areas. They're kind of like islands. Did you see how Spain and Portugal are their own little entity? off of the main continent. Well, they're test running. They're test running because if you want to do a great reset, if I wanted to do a great reset, they gave me, if I was a complete and utter scumbag, child abusing, satanic worshiping, billionaire freak scumbag, I'd be testing and see what happens when you shut down with a weather anomaly. I mean, how limp dick of an excuse is that? A weather anomaly knocked out the power to 2 countries, 2.5 countries. It's like 2.5 men. 2.5 countries got the power knocked out, and then Cuba got their power knocked out, and then Puerto Rico got their power knocked out completely. They're testing to see what happens. How will the law enforcement operate? How will the military operate? How will the people react? How will their communications and their resources work while everybody else is completely down? You know what I'm saying? Because the Great Reset is an absolute real thing. It's still up on their website. They haven't hidden it. It's always been right there. It would shut down absolutely everything. It gives them everything they want. It allows them to start all over again from ground zero. It depopulates because people will die. Power goes out for a month, 2, 3 months. That's all they need. It's all they need. People will absolutely die. And they get to steal everybody's bank accounts 100%. So, again, get your money out of the bank, turn it into gold and silver, okay? Because if it takes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, a year, have you ever tried to move around 30 days or 6 months worth of water, food, and ammunition? You can't. You can't. I love how people say that. Oh, I just need food and water. Okay. Where do you store it? Do you know how much water a human being needs? I'm not even going to get into it, actually. I'm not even going to get into it. For the people that know, you know. Use this link or don't. All right? Turn it into gold and silver. Have them send it to your house. And I'll make another video showing you how to secure your gold and silver where nobody can find it again. At any rate. And here's a funny little thing while I'm making this video. I just got this weather alert. It's a fire weather statement. Special weather statement issued April 28th. By Boston, Norton, Mass. The combination of low relative humidity will create an elevated risk for fire spread. Yeah, that's totally natural in April. April, when everything is soaking wet, you know? Isn't that phenomenal? Because fires are way down here, but with the technology they have these days, well, fire can show up anywhere in a moment's notice. I can't stop stating this enough. I got to LA at 9 o'clock at night. I got a hotel, I went to sleep, LA was there. When I woke up, LA was gone and under a hard military lockdown, so you couldn't go back in even if your house was still standing. That's crazy, that's creepy, but this is where we live now. These guys are absolutely going to do the Great Reset. There's no reason not to. They have no reason not to. They're doing whatever they want, and now they're knocking out power of the entire country and saying, oh, it's a weather event. What does that even mean? A weather event knocked out the power 100% in 2.5 countries? Yeah. Guess what? Testing, that's what they're doing right now. So it is what it is. They've warned us in Leave the World Behind. They've warned us in 0 Day. The only difference was vehicles were still working. People were still on their phones. So it wasn't an EMP attack. They just flipped the switch. You can't, there's so many safeguards in place. You can't lose Spain, Portugal, and parts of France all at the same time. It doesn't even make any sense. You know what I'm saying? But that's what they're telling people because it was the weather. Nothing to see here, folks. It's just the new normal. Climate change. Unreal. And meanwhile, all of these people have their own little underground bunkers or doomsday vaults out in Hawaii. That's exactly why they literally burned the place to the ground, because they didn't want anybody there they didn't want there. They wanted millionaires only. You see what I mean? And then, of course, you've always got the deep underground military bases that are pretty much the same size as every city underground right now that most people don't even understand exist. But they do. They do. These guys want their Great Reset, and in order to do that, this has to happen. This is exactly what's happening. Right now, we're watching them testing on countrywide bases, if that's even a word. At any rate, I got to get to bed. I'm going to leave links to all my channels. Subscribe to all of them. Richie from Boston TV. It's $2 a month. It's the cheapest I can do it, period. Or hit me on Patreon, because if I get taken down completely, because I'm not going to censor myself, I refuse. That's the only place you're going to find me. At any rate, Richie from Boston. Pray, people. Pray. Full armor of God. It's the only thing you got. Seriously. I'm out.